Our verse today is Sirach chapter 48 verse 12. It was Elijah who was covered by the wild wind, and Elisha was filled with his spirit. In all his days he did not tremble before any ruler, and no one brought him into subjection. The book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus from chapter 44 praises Israel's great ancestors, men and women. In chapter 48, the author sings the praises of Elijah. The story of Elijah was well known in Judaism among the Jewish people. He was renowned for his miraculous powers and fearlessness. Above all, Elijah's ascension to heaven in the wild wind distinguished him from other biblical figures. That is how our verse begins today, praising Elijah who was covered by the wild wind. If you read 2 Kings chapter 2. Elijah was taken up in the wild wind while Elisha watched and cried out to his master, my father, my father. Elisha had asked Elijah for a double portion of his spirit. Elijah had said that was a difficult request, but that if Elisha should see him taken up to heaven, he would have his wish. If it was you, would you allow any distraction from seeing when the master will be taken up? Elisha followed to the very end and saw Elijah taken up. His request was granted. That is the second point in our verse. Elisha was filled with his spirit. What was the spirit of Elijah? Elijah had the spirit of miracles, multiplying food and raising the dead. He was zealous for God, defended the Torah, the law, and the covenant, and was fearless before kings and the people. The Jews believed very strongly, following the prophecy of Malachi chapter 3 verse 14, that Elijah would return before the advent of the Messiah. That was why the Jews questioned John the Baptist if he was Elijah. Jesus described John the Baptist as the Elijah who was to return. If you read Matthew chapter 17, 10 to 13. Why did Jesus describe John the Baptist as Elijah? Our verse today offers us a similarity between John the Baptist and Elijah. The last part of our verse highlights that aspect of Elijah we find in John the Baptist. In all his days, he did not tremble before any ruler. Elijah stood before and challenged King Ahab and all the prophets of Baal and Asherah. If you read 1 Kings chapter 18. When the king Ahab took Naboth's vineyard, Elijah confronted him. He pronounced sentence upon him and his wife for their evil action. If you read 2 Kings chapter 1. Secondly, no one brought him into subjection. The Greek word used here is katedunasteusen, from the verb katedunasteu, which means to oppress, exploit, or dominate. Elijah would not allow anyone, not even the king, to oppress and prevent him from performing his prophetic ministry. We see the same in the ministry of John the Baptist. He confronted King Herod over his marriage and was imprisoned for that. John the Baptist would not allow himself to be oppressed, exploited, or dominated by the king. He chose to suffer in place of honor and luxury. That is the challenge for us today. What do we choose? Do we allow the lure of riches to oppress or suppress our prophetic call to speak the truth and stand against any injustices around us? Or do we prefer to submit to the authority, having an easy way and allowing injustices to continue in our world? If our world must change, we need fearless Christians who stand for their faith, even in the face of intimidation, oppression, and persecution. Lord, give us the spirit of Elijah and John the Baptist to stand up against injustices wherever we are. Amen. God bless you, and I wish you a pleasant day.